Hello, everyone. My name is JJ, and I'm a writer, a reader, and a lover of stories. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the stories that I'm currently loving. This changes often, so I might do more videos like this, but for right now, let's just jump into some of the things that have been inspiring, encouraging, or just highly entertaining, or living rent-free in my brain. Starting off really strong with the book that has just consumed my understanding of how books can be, Safecracker by Jesse Deroy. I love this book. And there's a few different reasons why I love this book, but the biggest reason is that it follows a criminal. And I have been searching for crime fiction that puts criminals as the main character as opposed to the people trying to solve the crimes for years and years and years. I am a huge lover of shows like Leverage and White Collar, even Arrow and Supernatural. They all have the same thing in common where we have criminals doing things. Granted, a lot of those shows like Leverage, Arrow, Supernatural, I would put those into the vigilante category, which if you want me to explain that about Supernatural, I can leave a comment and I will. But in the case of White Collar, we have a criminal helping the cops, but also doing his own crimes. And then in this scenario, in the case of Safecracker, we have a professional criminal thief who is trying to get on the straight and narrow, trying to get out of his life of crime, and gets roped back into it, which is just such a fun dynamic. So there's a lot of things that I really love about this plot, and a lot of it comes down to the main character, but also the international scope of it all and the extent to which this character is willing to go to great lengths to get what he wants. I really appreciate that you can root for him. He's really fun. He is relatable as a person, and you can see his fatal flaws working against him in the midst of the plot, where he could have solved, like, within the first few chapters, he could have solved all of his problems by just not doing what he is prone to do, but he couldn't help it, and he did it anyway, and his problems continued to stockpile, right? Which I think is really fun writing, and it's really fun to see a character who cannot help but to be the worst version of themselves. So yeah, that book has been super fun to read. Thank you, Jesse, for writing a book about a criminal. Also, thank you for making it a series. I cannot wait to keep binging this series, okay? Okay. Number 2, Project Hail Mary. I have not read the book yet. I own it. I bought it like 2 days before I was going to go see the movie. I totally planned to read it in like January and failed to. All the best laid plans. That doesn't really matter though, because the movie is phenomenal and I saw it twice in theaters. Once on normal digital screen and the other time in IMAX. So do that. Do what you will. It's worth seeing multiple times. I cannot wait to watch it again with my family when it's streaming. I love it. I don't know what I was expecting from this movie, but cute little friendship story in space that originated not because of the character's own free will choices, but because of what was required for the times, just wasn't it. But I also am not at all mad at any of it, and I adore it. So thank you to the people who made that movie. It is top movies of the year for sure. And I think that's obvious in the way that people are responding to it in theaters and the way that people are responding to it in like nerd centers and even just like in general. The fact that Amaze is like well known even to the point of being in like the NASA space missions right now is crazy, and I love that for everybody involved. Okay, next, Crime 101. You know I'm going to talk about it because it's the biggest thriller probably of this year. And I am going to talk about it. In fact, I'm going to release an entire video essay explaining why I love this movie, what works about it, what works about the plot, what works about the characters. Even the name Crime 101 feels very symbolic because it follows crimes along this certain highway, which is the 101 highway. But it also like plays off of the idea that an introductory course in crime would be Crime 101. And the fun thing about that is that we see a wide range of criminals in this movie, right? We see some who are definitely amateurs. We have some who have never committed a crime before, and we have some who are professionals and do this for their living. And I think what's fun about that is that this is a crash course also in how to write crime fiction, which is why I'm going to analyze it for you so that you can learn from it if you want to write crime fiction. So stay tuned for that full analysis. Okay, next. Divinity, Original Sin. I've already played this once. This is a video game. I played it once. I am really enjoying the second playthrough. And I think what's fun about it is that you get to explore these different characters in this world in the same plot, and you can toy with different side characters, right? Like if you bring different people into your party, you get different types of storylines, you get different quests that you can do. So that's really cool. Also, depending on what you respond to as the player, like how you respond to different scenarios, your characters gain different attributes because it's a role play game. So how you respond impacts how the world interacts with you, which I think is really cool. So that's nifty. I'm really enjoying that storyline. Again, it starts off as a murder mystery in a fantasy realm, and it turns into something way more, way bigger than that. Next up, I watch a lot of movies and TV. I would read more, but my brain can only handle so much, and because I work in the publishing industry, sometimes it is a very good thing to be able to put work down, right? So as much as I adore books, and I do adore books, I do a lot of my film and movie intake as part of my downtime, and so my downtime includes a lot of TV shows with friends and movies with friends. And one of my friends has introduced me to 2 TV shows that I'm about to talk about. So thank you for introducing them to me. The first one is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know why it took me this long to have ever watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I love Marvel. I've been a huge fan of Marvel for a really long time. I'm still, even after all of the Phase 4 kind of stuff, I'm still a fan of Marvel, and I think they're finally getting their life back together. I talked about Thunderbolts back in the day, and I can't wait to see what is going to continue to happen with the Thunderbolts. I'm also very interested to see what happens with Doomsday. All that to say, we're going through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. together in our rewatch of everything prior to Doomsday. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not at all the show that I thought it was. Not that I knew what to expect from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I am fully enjoying this show, okay? It is, if you like spy shows, but essentially, if you like Marvel, you're going to like this show, and here's why. Each season genre hops, so you start out with spies, and then you get into, like, sci-fi, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy sort of sci-fi, but you also can get into, like, the Thor kind of sci-fi, where it's a little bit more space fantasy, but then we also get into, like, androids taking over the world kind of chaos. So it's just a really interesting type of show because you can genre hop and everything kind of merges, which is super nifty. Mostly because a lot of other shows would fail to do that, but because of the nature of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being a underground agency operating within that world already where all of these things coexist, can coexist in that way, which is super cool. The characters are fun, the plots are interesting, the things that they're exploring, the way that the tension rises, they do a really good job of it. So if you're looking for a fun spy show that dips into the kinds of things that you expect from Marvel with superpowers or kind of space fantasies and even just like space sci-fi, this is a good one. Okay, cool. Next up, Prodigal Son. Totally different. Still kind of like that's investigative kind of show, but Prodigal Son follows the son of a serial killer who became a criminal profiler and is hunting down other serial killers, essentially different types of serial killers, because there are different psychological types of serial killers. They're not all the same. They all have different reasons for doing what they do. All of them are wrong because murder is bad. But the interesting thing about this show is that we also get to see how trauma impacts characters and how they live their lives. And we get some of the coolest characters, the funniest, the characters in the show are so good. A lot of them are like actually clinically insane, which is super interesting to explore. Also, we have just like the nth degree of the drama, right? So, for example, Malcolm, our main character, his mom is like if Morticia Adams was living in New York as a member of high society and was as dramatic as ever, but she's the only one in the set who is that bizarre. But I love her. I can't not love her because of the drama of it all, right? So as we're thinking about the characters here, that's also something to consider. I will say the show is very dark, very twisty, funny, way funnier than it should be. I laugh a lot more than probably I should, but also crime fiction, it's inevitable. All that to say, maybe don't, if you're prone to nightmares, probably don't watch this show right before bed or with the lights off. On the other hand, if you like losing sleep, maybe do that. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Make your own choices. It's a good show. 2 more shows that I want to talk about. One of them is Found. A different of my friends got me into this one. And Found follows a crisis management firm who is really just like a collection of private investigators who have all survived the trauma of either losing somebody because like somebody in their family went missing or was taken, or they themselves were taken and they had to live through that trauma and figure out how to move forward from that. It's a very interesting show. It's a lot more investigation focused, so it's a lot like you get the drama of we have to find this person within 24 hours or they're probably dead, but you also get the tension of all of the ways that they all deal with their own trauma. And big plot twist that was in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler. But if you want to watch this, maybe like mute this for a second or skip 10 seconds. How one of them is dealing with trauma is by kidnapping her kidnapper, which is such an interesting dynamic. And it's crazy. So yeah, that's fun. All as the plot pieces are kind of like falling into place and more people are figuring things out. It's twisty and fun and crazy, but like less crazy than Prodigal Son. The other show that if you like, if that sounds interesting to you, you probably would be interested in Tracker. Tracker follows, it's also based off of a book which I need to read, but Tracker follows this guy who is essentially a bounty hunter, but specifically for missing people. So like bounty hunters take jobs to bring in high profile criminals and like stop them and bring them into the police and then collect the reward. In this scenario, he goes through and if somebody has posted like a $5,000 reward for finding their family member who is missing or taken or whatever, he goes through and he interviews the people and he says, okay, cool, I'm going to go find her, right? I'm going to go find them, see if I can't do that for you. And then he brings home the reward and he gets everything that he's hoping for out of that, which is an interesting way to do a solve the crime kind of private investigator, lone wolf kind of story, because he has his team, but like he only ever works alone. And he has his own family drama too, which is what comes up later throughout the show. But it's a fun little episodic dive in, dive out, you know exactly what to expect kind of storyline. More intense because, you know, it's a little bit more action-y, I guess is the best way to put it. But what I like about both of these last 2 shows, both Found and Tracker, is that most of the time, the people who are missing are found alive. So it's a little bit more hopeful than like a murder mystery where it's the same thing over and over again, but the people are dead. Right. So do with that what you will. Those are the stories that are currently like in my brain. Not to mention the stories that I'm writing, and not to mention any other stories that I'm watching with everyone else. Which is a lot of media. It's a lot to keep straight, which is no wonder that I only have space for so many things at once. But have you seen any of these? What do you think about them? I would love to chat more. If you have questions about the things that I've mentioned, just don't give me any spoilers, okay? I'm in the process with a lot of these things. So I would like to be able to just enjoy them. Let's be kind to each other and allow people to enjoy them. Or at the very least, give spoiler warnings, right? Like I just did with Found, where I was like, you know, this was in the trailer. It's not really a secret. Let's be kind to each other. Okay. Tell me what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to. Are you listening to audio dramas? Are you listening to audiobooks? Stories can be told in all sorts of different formats, and that's one of my favorite things about storytelling in general, is that it can be a movie, it can be a podcast, it can be a podcast musical, it can be a stage play. All of that impacts how we interact with the entertainment that we engage in. So enjoy that element of storytelling as well. Tell me what you're up to. Tell me what you're engaging with, and I might even go check it out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You can connect with me elsewhere at author JJ Hanna. Other videos that you might like are popping up on the screen now, so make sure that you go check some of those out. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.